Hear ye, I declare tonight's shave a royal shave. I'm using Noble Otter, RAWR. Okay, that's enough of that. Very excited to make a video about this soap. This is RAWR by Noble Otter. I really was excited to pick up some Noble Otter soap. This is the first one I've ever had, and the main reason I'm excited about it is it's my third Texas soap. It comes out of Houston, and this is a very recent. This is kind of their newest scent. It came out earlier in the summer. I've used this soap already a couple of times. It's a bit more floral than I was expecting. Now I know the first scent says bergamot, sweet orange, neroli, and dandelions. So there is flower scents, notes in there. But it's a little bit more floral, but it's still an amazing soap. It lathers really well. It smells really good all around. This is an amazing soap. And I also purchased the matching aftershave to go with this soap. So all around really great stuff. The aftershave feels amazing. It kind of has a, I'm sure that's just some sort of agent to hydrate and moisturize your skin, but it kind of looks like an oil floating around in there, but you give it a good shake and it mixes it up. It kind of makes it hazy when you splash it in your hand and then on your face, but it feels really good. Just an all-around great great aftershave and soap combo there from Noble Otter. My razor is really interesting. So you can see it here. It's an open comb and it's brass. I don't know anything else about it. It's old. I bought it in an antique shop in a little town called Hudson, Wisconsin. It's right there before you cross into Minnesota. It's kind of the last city right there on the St. Croix River. Interesting little razor. It doesn't give me the greatest shave. It's very, very mild. The blade alignment, I don't know how well you can see it here, but the blade alignment doesn't really, it's not good. It's just kind of off kilter, but it's just because it's old. Notice when I unscrew it just a tad, look at how loose the threading is there. But I mean, it's old. I mean, this thing's probably been screwed and unscrewed hundreds of times, if not thousands of times. So it's just old. It's the cheapest razor that I've ever bought. I bought it for like $10, I think, at this antique shop, and it gets the least amount of use, just because it doesn't give me the greatest shaves. Extremely mild, like the mildest shave that I get with any of my razors. And I'm using the Astra. This is the fifth and final use of the Astra green there. As far as my brush, I'm using the big monster Yaqi. That razor I just showed you, this is the first video I've ever made with that razor. It's my last razor. I have 10 razors. This is my 10th shave, and that's the last one. You've seen the Yaqi though before. I only have 6 brushes, and so obviously there's some repeat already happening with those brushes. I am using, this is about the third or fourth time that I've used the PAA Travel Scuttle. This thing is great. I've already got some of the soap mashed down in there. So I'll start lathering this up. I'm anxious. This is the first time I've used the Yaqi with this scuttle, so I'm anxious to see how it performs. Love the warm lather. That's going to come in handy when it gets really cold in the winter. I've mentioned that. So I'm shooting this on a Sunday night. Next week we go in for my wife's scheduled C-section. Our second child is due next week. We have a daughter, lovely daughter. She's great. But then also, you know, we don't know what we're having. And if I have a boy, that's great. I would be able to, I'm an only child, so I'd be able to pass on my last name to him. Or, you know, if my daughter never gets married. Or if she decides to keep her last name, even if she does get married. Either way, hoping for a boy, but if we get another lovely girl, I would be more than happy to welcome another little girl into our family. This is coming together very nice. But yeah, if I have a son, that would be great, because then I could pass my shaving knowledge on to him. Daughter, you know, legs. Her face, if she wants to, it's cool. One reason I was really excited to try the Noble Otter was just the name, and then their like marketing, or what they kind of what's the word I'm looking for? What it looks like on the packaging, whatever that's called. Their design. I've told you that I'm rereading this book series when I was a kid called Redwall. It's nerdy, it's medieval, but all the characters are animals. But there's mostly mice, that's the main characters. But then also there are moles and rabbits and hedgehogs. I'm making a huge mess. That tends to happen with the old Yaqi here. Moles and hedgehogs, and owls, squirrels, but also otters. And otters are really funny characters in this book series. So that's one of the reasons I was excited to use the soap, is it reminds me of that book series. Great series if you've got kids. I discovered those books. I was in like the 8th grade, so like 12 or 13, something like that. Great series if you have a kid that wants to start a new book series or wants to discover some books and is that age, or as an adult. Go for it. The Redwall series by Brian Jakes. Started writing them in the late 80s and then through the 90s into the early 2000s, and he passed away a few years ago. I mentioned those books in a previous video. So I got another haircut. This is my second haircut since March. And this is what you see is normally what I have. Obviously when I started the video I was very shaggy. Then I got it cut down and it was still kind of long in the front or kind of on the side. I just went back. I went back to my old haircuts. This is what I've looked like for better part of like 20 years. Well, I say that. In college I had super long hair. I could grab it behind my back. It was long. My adult life, this is what it looked like. This blade is actually breathing new life into this razor. I'm getting a decent shave off this razor. So with the new kid coming, I'm going to try to continue to make videos. We'll see. Any of y'all parents out there? A newborn wipes you out. I mean, I'm only speaking from one experience. That first 3 months, though, it's rough, brother. No sleep. Constantly crying. All you do is clean bottles and fill bottles. Yeah. And then now to add another element is a cranky 2-year-old. It's all worth it though. Every parent I've ever talked to has been like, yeah man, it's tough, but it's worth it. And I totally agree. Our daughter does the funniest, cutest things. My wife and I said, how would we have made it through this pandemic without our daughter to keep us entertained? Sure, she's 2. She throws an occasional tantrum. What 2-year-old doesn't? But man, she is such a good kid. Good parents. I just watched the Packers pull out a win against the Saints. Sunday Night Football. Obviously, this is running a little bit late. Editing-wise, it takes me a few days and whatnot. Weeks and some. And I'm actually a few videos. You know, I've got some shot that I haven't edited. I'm also a big Texas Tech fan. I watched Texas Tech blow a 15-point lead against University of Texas, my least favorite team. And the Mississippi State Bulldogs, my other alma mater. Big upset over LSU Tigers. Their new coach is Mike Leach, former Texas Tech head coach. Actually met him a couple of times when he was in Lubbock, when I was in Lubbock, Texas. I worked in news and I got to interview him a couple times. Super nice guy. I call him the mad scientist. Or the pirate. Because he does crazy things. Like, he'll go for it on like 4th and 20. He got booted from Lubbock, kind of a controversial deal. And then ended up at Washington State. Head coach there at Washington State. Did a few years there, now he's at Mississippi State. I got a broadcasting degree from Texas Tech, and then I got a degree in atmospheric science from Mississippi State. Just about have those student loans paid off. Oh well. You know, it's one thing they can never take from you is an education. Whether you got it for free from the public library, or paid for it or whatever. Just, it's knowledge, man. You can take that with you throughout life. I read a lot. I'm constantly still learning. I had a friend over the other night, my wife's friend, and she was like, yeah, like, so many people are like, oh, your life just flies by, and you know, next thing you know, you wake up and you're 60 years old, and you're like, where did my life go? And she was like, and I totally agree with her, if you spend your life learning stuff, life won't fly by, and it won't pass by. You have to make life interesting. It's an adventure, but you have to step up to the plate. I see a lot of, just positive, a lot of these wet shavers are just super positive, men and women, and I like that. Like, what I'm saying is repeated a lot. Okay, so this turned out pretty good. I had a couple days growth, and like I said, this normally not great razor actually did pretty well. A lot of it's the blade. I really like this Astra green. A lot of people do. Not everybody. A lot of people do. They tend to get pretty good results from the Astra green. And cheap. I bought a 100-pack on Amazon for like $7. I'm thinking, I did cut myself a little bit. I am thinking about getting another boar brush. I kind of want to make a brush and then, or the handle, and then add the knot. But I'm having a hard time finding the knots, boar knot. I definitely want another boar because I only got one boar and I love it. But all I can really find is synthetic knots and badger knots, like by themselves. So I don't know where I'm going to find a boar. Unbrushed, unhandled boar. God, I cut myself pretty good. It didn't hurt at all. But it's bleeding quite a bit. We'll just throw some aftershave on it and see if that takes care of it. I'm upstairs. I didn't bring my alum block upstairs, so no alum tonight. But throw some of this aftershave on it. Let some of the bubbles subside. The aftershave is spot on to the soap. A little bit of a burn, but nothing too bad. Yeah, the aftershave smells really good. Floral, like I said, if you are cool with that. But that little bit of oil, like I mentioned, or just whatever that is, kind of floating in the bottom, mixes in. And you get a real nice, slick, hydrated feel on the face. I don't know if all Noble Otter aftershaves are like that, but this one is great. I almost went with Monarch. I was like this close to getting the scent Monarch. But then I saw that RAWR was new and lots of people, were trying that one. So I went with that one. And I like it. I will be using other Noble Otter shave soaps in the future and aftershave. So there you go, folks. Next time you see me, I will likely have a second kid, and then obviously taking some time off from work to help my wife and help out with the kid. So I'll try to shoot a video maybe with that new kid or something, or at least after things kind of settle down a bit. So thank you guys so much. I'll see you soon.